Welcome. Surprise. I invite you to take a breath. And I decided to create this video because a couple of sisters have shared some really beautiful insights to the experiences that they are moving through. And it's, it is it's so important to me that you all get the opportunity to really understand what is going on in your body, in your energy, in your emotions as you move through this. Because I know that, especially if you have done, say self body work or other healing modalities or practices or whatever it is, and you've tried a lot, that it's a lot to actually start to open things up in a way that moves things out. And the profundity of that is why most people don't do it. And that's not a dig at anyone. There's no shame. It's simply the truth that it is easier to numb and to protect ourselves and to avoid what is painful to touch. And when we do not have the capacity, emotionally, energetically, physically, physiologically, within our being, numbing is wise. It's important. Like, that is the truth to it, is that there's actually wisdom in it. And so these patterns that may be revealing themselves to you, there's no shame in it. I am not someone who for a second is like, well, just don't scroll, especially in a container like this, sisters. Like, if we're in a one-on-one for a week, that's very, very different. But you've experienced what an hour with yourself, it held in this energy, is like. And, you're moving a lot. You're moving decades of, I think of it as sludge, is the best way that I can put it. Physical, emotional, energetic. It can be in our spirit, in our energy body. And again, when you start to open that up, it brings forward all of the lessons that you need. And there are things, powers, energies, entities that do not want you to come into your highest vibration, frequency, most aligned purpose. That is the reality. And yes, I come to this through a shamanic lens as well as a scientific one. But that is part of the reason that we can touch these layers, because there is a part of you that is not conscious. It is conscious, but you're not necessarily conscious of it, that feels safe enough to start to release some of these patterns because of the container that I create. And that is just the truth. I'm not trying to say like my energy and my being, and the container that I create is very, very intentional, and it allows for deeper work to occur. And I take responsibility for that, which is why I wanted to come in with this video, because as you are experiencing these openings, this is power. First of all, as we move into next week, we'll dive into power conversation. But this experience is, what is actually keeping you from your power is moving out of your body. is moving out of your energy body, emotional body, physical body, spirit body. And as these layers move out, the best way that I can put this is if you think of your true self as this bright light, you can think of it as your soul, your spirit, whatever resonates most with you. At your center is this bright pillar of light. And from your conception and through, imprints or experiences that your soul has gone through, your body collects these layers, 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 layers. And you can picture this physically in our fascial structure. And because any energy, any energetic pattern is going to have, there's going to be a physical component to it, and vice versa. So it's both and. And you go through life, you have traumas, you carry tension, you then, have to compensate for the tension that you're carrying. You hide your true self, you mask yourself, like all of these different patterns happen. And that every time that happens, it's like a layer goes between the true you, most authentic, brightest, aligned, highest frequency you, and it's like a sheet of paper goes over that bright light, or a sheet of tissue paper goes over that bright light, or a tissue. And over time, that light dims. And when that happens, we don't know our true self. And all of these things that have blocked that keep us from our power, keep us from our truth, tell us, don't speak up, you're doing this wrong, you're bad, don't trust yourself, fear your body. All of that is not you. And being able to find that thread amongst the purge of remembering what is truth and remembering even when you're feeling, this is the thing with purging that is so both beautiful and complex and hard, challenging, is that when you're purging, you're feeling those emotions. When they are coming up to come out, you are feeling that. I was in an experience recently, a very deep ceremonial training, and I had this coming up within me. And it was, at this point, I do know when a purge is happening. But this was like one of the first times that I had been so clear on that and was able to see it, even amongst just being like faced and feeling the lack of belonging, the lack of self-worth, the fear that I'm not magic enough, that I, again, don't belong, like all of these stories coming forward. I mean, picture me on the ground at the foot of a tree in my dirty little ceremony dress, just crying. Okay, completely unraveling. And even though I, I was like, I want to go home. I can never make this. It was a 10-day experience. So I'm sharing this because I think it's important for you to know that, like, I still like I can still find these layers within myself. And it's that doesn't mean that I am on a very deep shamanic path at this point, and I am looking for those layers within myself. Okay. So it's not something that you like have to pursue to that. You can get to reach a level of physical and emotional and spiritual vitality and be like, I feel complete for now. At any, once you get through these surface level, when I say that, I mean structurally, okay? Not like it's surface level work that you're doing, but it's just if we go in layers, you're clearing out the surface, and like this is where most symptoms are caused. And then below, like there can be things that bubble up, but you don't have to continue excavating. I am an excavator and I help women excavate. Therefore, it is essential for me to continue that within myself, because first of all, I love it. And because it is humbling and it gives me the very real experience of being able to support you going through this. So as you purge and you feel these emotions, it feels real. And part of the beauty in this and the gift that this is the opportunity to feel that and to choose and to decide again and again and again. I trust my body. I trust myself. Anything that says that I should fear my body is not me, is not true. Whether or not you fully believe this at this point, to be able to say that, to think it, to say, of course, if I am creating blood flow and lymph flow in my body, if I am touching her slowly and gently, with compassion, with love, with presence, of course I am moving forward in my journey. That could not cause me harm. That opens up, this is why a big reason I teach anatomy is so that you can see it opens up blood and lymph flow. And when you do that, healing happens. And when you do that after there hasn't been that present, it's like opening the dam, or opening, if you picture a river that has like a bunch of trash in it, and it gets like, or there's like dammed up stuff, right? It's like clogged. And someone comes in and cleans all that stuff out and the river starts running again. What is going to happen? There's going to be a rush. And I invite you, if it's helpful to have these visuals, look on YouTube at like trash in river. And when you clear that out and the river starts running, flowing again, there is going to be dirt, right? It's going to be brown water flowing. And that is what occurs in our body when we open up the space and the energy, when we open up the space for that to happen, which leads to healing. It moves blood, it moves lymph. And that is really, it's more complex than that. And it's also as simple as that. That when we open up our tissues, when we give ourselves energetic love, gentle touch, things are shifting. And those things are unfamiliar. And those things can express as what seem like symptoms, which are just messages from our body. Pleasure is a symptom. Purging is a symptom. These are all symptoms. Pain can be a symptom. But we don't always think of every single message from our body as actually a symptom. We just think of the bad. And when you've had chronic symptoms, that creates PTSD. So going through this, you are literally, and I love using the term forced, but invited to, gifted the opportunity to face this and say, I am choosing a new way. This is healing happening now. This is not, whatever caused, this is not tension, this is not trauma, this is not whatever caused the symptom in the first place. This is a new symptom. This is a new layer. And a really great way to track this is by considering the emotions that are coming forward. If there's stories present, if there's emotions, if there's anything like that coming forward, to be able to say, oh, okay, this is actually different because of that emotion. Because our bodies, especially if we have carried pain, there's going to be places like, if something happens in me, I usually get like a low back, or like, it's like QL, psoas area that can twinge a little bit. Or, I have a space back here that can, when I start to feel something coming up, like the urgency or something, I feel it back there. And if someone has had chronic symptoms, that's usually the place that it's like their alarm bell within their body. So there's actually wisdom to it, but it's just kind of like the alarm bell. And it takes time to recalibrate to, oh, this is just a message. It doesn't mean that the symptom is back. It doesn't mean that we're spiraling. It's just a message, and I just get to listen. But that takes practice. We live in a world that doesn't teach this. We're decades into life without knowing this. It takes time and practice, but it doesn't take that much time. Working with, and the awareness is beautiful. So I'm just going to come in and read a couple of these. So, because as much as it is assisting in relaxing into sleep, I have felt a lot of pain radiating out of my heart and solar plexus. I keep oscillating between sitting with it and reaching to scroll to run from it. I'm having a very hard time being with myself in this pain, but I keep putting the phone down and doing my best to relax into my body. So that choice point of putting the phone down and relaxing in your body, you can titrate, right? Scroll and then, okay, I'm going to put the phone down and I'm going to relax and feel this. That is such deep healing happening on a pattern that is way bigger than your face, neck, and jaw. And it's also revealing the pattern of, oh, I pick up my phone when I'm trying to avoid something. And there's no shame here, sister. I do too. Okay, it's 2024. Anybody who's here probably does that. But having that choice and that, like, okay, I see that pattern. Because with that awareness, some people will be like, oh, awareness, like, who cares? Awareness is so crucial, because if you don't have the awareness, you're still just so in tunnel vision of not being able to see it. You can't change it. And having the awareness has to come with self-compassion, because it's not about judging or shaming yourself for doing it. It's just about, okay, I'm going to choose this. Now, pain radiating out of heart and solar plexus. I would be curious if there's any emotions or stories coming up with that. And I just want to honor that opening up your heart is a place that we carry grief. This can be ancestral. This can be this lifetime. And the story, it's not that it's not important, but knowing the story, knowing why, does not have to happen for the healing to happen. And that's something that's so important and beautiful when it comes to our body, is that it's, she's so wise in that she will clear things. And if the story is important for us to know, we will know it. If there's an emotion that's important for us to know, we'll know it. I would invite, sister, a bath. If you have a bathtub, or if you're into baths. If you're not, then maybe a shower. If you're not into baths, but you have a bathtub, maybe try it out. It's like my favorite thing, and can be so, so supportive for this work and really allowing your tissues to soften. And I'm just cheering you on and giving you such a deep bow, because you did this incredible work with yourself, with your own hands. And to do that in a way that is opening up this much tells me that you created so much safety within yourself. You know, I can create the container as far as I can create it, but then it's up to you. And so the fact that you did that for yourself is really beautiful and so, so powerful. The next one I will answer, or I will speak to here, is an echoing of the other sister. I am oscillating between sitting with and trying to escape. I will admit that I have done a lot of scrolling in the last 24 hours. It is uncomfortable. Yes. Being faced with what we have been avoiding and starting to feel. Healing is feeling. Healing is becoming masterful at feeling it all. And we live in a world, in a society that numbs, that teaches us to numb, that thrives on people numbing, and that we oftentimes have to push through things instead. So it's rewiring this whole framework that was created based on that pattern in society. It's not just you, sister. So yes, it is uncomfortable. And being able to, again, see that pattern and be like, okay, I scrolled, I'm going to come back. I scrolled, I'm going to come back, and continue doing that. It takes time, again. So just having these awareness patterns is amazing. solar plexus, crown of head, eyebrows, to name a few. Yes. And first of all, I want to commend the powerful work that you did with yourself and your body and the space that you created for yourself to feel and to open to that. And this to me says big, old purges, layers coming up and to come out. Your jaw and neck feel aggravated too. So the other layer of this is when we free, this is freeing body armor. Body armor is fascia. It's also energetic, and doing this work absolutely melts that. And therefore you are removing the protection and the bracing that your body has used to protect you when it's needed it. And that bracing pattern is no longer there. So when this happens, being able to, when this happens, it feels vulnerable. There is a rawness to it because something that was holding, say, your jaw is no longer there. And now it's just your jaw to the world. And this is when I talk about fascia, when it comes to self-identity work and the subconscious, this is a really important piece of that because our fascial structure is telling us where we are in space, which means where are we in the world? How are we relating to the world around us? So that bracing pattern, that melting pattern that has happened here, now you're more intimate with the world. Without doing anything else. You don't have to do any intimacy work or anything. You're just more intimate with the world. And that is tender. That is vulnerable. So it takes some time for your nervous system and your fascial structure to calibrate to that space, but ultimately it is beautiful. And you said deep tiredness. Yes. That this work and this purging takes a lot of energy. So I encourage you to lean into that and to listen to it. And I know that it's not always convenient, and it's, I think, important to feel these things and experience them. So, down the road, maybe what can come up, and you give yourself space as needed. And also the tiredness can come from a place of, like the tiredness that we kind of shove down. And just allowing yourself to rest and to receive and to allow your body to do the healing. She is healing. I also recommend a bath. Doing my best to trust. Self-trust doesn't come easy to me. Of course it doesn't. And our self-trust is as much as we trust our body and vice versa. And that is the journey here, sister, is that as you choose to trust and as you come into this relationship with your body, that fortifies your self-trust in every single area of life. Like there's nothing that builds self-trust more than self-touch. And again, these are not just your patterns that are coming, that can be present here. This is deep ancestral and societal conditioning, deeply ingrained in ourselves to tell us to not trust ourselves, to not trust our body. So that, and the part of you that feels like I have done something wrong, that piece, it's probably not you. When we do this work and we're like, oh, am I doing something wrong? This has been such a huge lesson for me. It's inorganic fear. It's like a dark entity of you're doing something wrong, you're doing something bad, you're touching your body, this purge process, this incredible healing process is happening. You're doing something wrong. Go back, suppress yourself, don't feel, go scroll, numb out. That I'm going to sing to that here in a moment. But when that comes forward, I do invite you to really come into that point of me touching my body is the most natural thing in the world. I am the only one in the world who has a right to touch my body. And me touching my body lovingly and being with myself lovingly is beautiful and profound and magical. Like whatever comes up for you around that and just coming back to that can help these other things. You can also snap your fingers. No, snap those thoughts, cords, energies away. The old narrative that I'll experience all these feelings and then return to how things were before. Yeah, this is such a big one. And this is honestly, these things are what I work with. I really want to honor all of you here because this is such an intensive container. And, this is usually things I work with clients for weeks and months following the work. So you're getting a masterclass in this very, very quickly. And I trust that all of you are ready for that. And, the thing that I will remind is because of the container that we create, because of the intention that you bring, because of the energetic and the physical that is being touched and worked with and opened, you can't shove the things back that have released if you don't stop the purge. The reason this happens is because people freak out. The purging starts, they don't have any support, they start freaking out, and they're like, oh my gosh, I gotta go take the pill, get the thing, like whatever happens to like stuff all that back in. And that is when it's like, okay, now we have to start all over again. And there is so much wisdom to this because it is such a journey to, like, once you pass the test, then you get the lesson, you have that lesson and you're like, oh, I have to let the purge complete itself, and then it's gone and it's done and it completes itself. But we have to undo all of this programming around like, put it back, put it back, put it back. So this is so common. And it's a journey of being a human. Okay, there's no like race to the finish line or anything around this. It's just like, as we learn it, we will learn it, and then we understand it. And when you get to that other side and are like, oh yeah, it completed, that doesn't mean you're never going to have any feelings or emotions or anything, sensations again, but it's like that process completed itself. So that is very, very important. And again, I will remind, like, when you're opening things this way, in such an efficient way, you can't shove it all back. Energetically, emotionally, like once it's open, it's flowing. And keeping up with continuing to do the practice doesn't have to be, it can be once a week, you do the full practice and do a little bit in between. Doing this work with our bodies supports that so much, because as our physiological capacity increases, which happens through more blood flow, more lymph flow, then it becomes easier and easier. I'm not saying it's like all sunshine and rainbows when a deep purge of something old and ancient happens, but when your body can hold it, it makes such a huge difference. I was so grateful for my physiological capacity and my body's capacity to go through the healing that I went through recently. And yeah, it just made me really, really recognize and appreciate like how important that is. Because if, a lot of people do a lot of energy work and like energy clearings, but their bodies can't keep up, and it's just not sustainable. So I'm cheering you on. And yeah, you have the class, it's lifetime access. So don't wait, forever, unless you're like, okay, that was enough for me. But coming back and doing it again and again, that repetition is where mastery happens. And it doesn't take, the beautiful thing, again, with this self-mastery through self-touch, is that it doesn't take other fancy things to learn these lessons, to come into more self-trust, to receive the lessons. Your soul is housed in your body, okay? And the way that I feel it is that it sends out, it attracts like exactly what we need to in order to learn what we need to in order to bring our soul's gifts to fruition. And yes, that may come in symptoms, that may come in experiences. When I have had some past life things come through and come up, I'm like, holy shit, it is fucking wild. Like the things that I have been given in this life in order to have to learn the lessons that bring that gift into reality. And it's not easy. It is the human experience, but being able to do that and choosing to do it is amazing. And it does, like, the thing is that it brings our gifts forward. It brings our vitality, our true self, our thriving forward. And that is why we do this work. We have to have that bigger vision and that bigger mission for ourselves than like, oh, I have, there's a symptom or there's not, or I had a good day or a bad day. It's like, I am doing this work because I want to insert your desire bigger than, I don't want to tell anyone what their desire needs to be, but having that longer term vision is so important. Because if you are like 1 year down the road, 5 years down the road, if I keep doing this is what I told myself when I started doing this work. Look at what I did in my past. Look at where that led me. Imagine if I make decisions every single day, even if they're little, in this direction. Like, how could that be? That will not be bad. I know that. And that is what has allowed me to change careers, to do this deep healing work, to step in, to create this business, to continue my own training and step in. Like the shamanic school that I'm in is so out of my wheelhouse. It has been. I'm trying to not own that, but it's not anymore. Like there's a reason I'm there, but it is so uncomfortable. Like put me in, and now I've been there for 3.5 years, so it's different, but it has taken showing up again and again and again and just trusting that I'm there for a reason and it gets better. And I've seen it get better and better and better. And the same is true with anything that we do. Anything in our life is created through the patterns, through small decisions, through a lot of small decisions, which is cool. And it's important when we are creating these new patterns that we come back to that. Like, oh, just doing this for 5 minutes a day, every single day, will lead me in a different direction. The realizations I will have, the emotions that come forward, etc., etc. Okay. So I think that I have covered the pieces that are important. And I hope that this is insightful for all of you and that you can see some of yourself in those examples that I used. Thank you, sisters, who shared that. And now I'm going to guide a little practice and also offer some clearing to the space, to the container. So the energy that I hold and that I work with is of unconditional love. And if you do not wish to receive that, then that's okay. And it's not forced. It's not coerced. I trust that every woman receives exactly what she needs to. And I am deeply, deeply rooted into Mama Gaia as I work with so much love. If you have any of your own, medicine woman tools, like I have some oil here. I also have this. This is Agua de Florida. And this is one of the best things to try with headaches, for energetic headache stuff. And what you can do, you can either just dump a little on your head or you can pour it in your hand. Just get a little, it doesn't take a lot. Kind of rub it around. And then I like to put it like right at the back of my neck over my cerebellum. You can also put just a little bit in your hand and then put it on top. It is quite perfumey. And when there is something for this to like, I like to put it on my throat. I kind of like bathe in this stuff. I'm not necessarily saying everyone do that, but it's very powerful. When this does work, like there's something there that is burning off, for lack of a better term, like it's clearing something. It can, and we'll see if it happens to me. That's why I did it on the screen. It can get quite red. It can get like, it won't get swollen necessarily. It's just like it'll be like red splotches. That's temporary, and that means that something is happening. And it's not like a fix all for headaches or pain, but especially when you're doing this work, if it interests you, then Agua de Florida. It's a Peruvian shamanic tool. You can order it on Amazon. And it can be, again, very, very powerful to support the clearing on an energetic level. Okay, and then I also have my wind rattle. I also really like sprays like rose water, just to have something, or like a little shaker. I got all kinds of tools around. A little shaker. The snapping can be really wonderful, and doing these things throughout the day can be so powerful. Just to even think, and rose water is one of my favorite things for it, because it's non-offensive to most people. It's not super smelly, but it does work. And it's like, just for you to have that little reset of like cleansing your aura can be work magic. Okay, I am going to center myself here. Maria, 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 hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey. Inanna Rakma, Inanna Rakma, Inanna Rakma, all is love. All is love. All is love. You are beautiful, magical, wise and worthy. Beautiful, magical, wise and worthy. Open your heart, receive this love. Open your heart, receive this love. I am beautiful, magical, wise and worthy, beautiful, magical, wise and worthy. I'm opening my heart, receiving this love. Opening my heart, receiving love. We are beautiful, magical, wise and worthy, beautiful, magical, wise and worthy. We are opening our hearts, receiving this love. Opening our hearts, receiving this love. I invite you to tune into your pelvis, locate your womb, your cervix. Feel that thread, that magnetic cord of safety, of love, of belonging, of abundance that moves from within you, from your cervix, down, down, down into the earth. Like an umbilical cord, not tethering you in a way that holds you back or that traps you, but in a way that nourishes and sustains and loves every part of you always. See that cord in the center of the center of the center of the womb of Gaia. The space where all organic creation births from. Nothing that is inorganic can enter this space. From this space, I invite you to bring your voice forward, moving from the center of the center of the center up your umbilical cord into your yoni, your cervix, your womb, your abdomen, your heart, and your throat. trusting what comes forward. Uh, 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 might be a scream, a sob, croaking like came from me, humming. I'm going to sing, and if and when you feel called to join me, I invite you to do so. When I listen to the voice of my womb, I hear a beauty prayer. Beauty prayer. When I listen to the voice of my womb, I hear a beauty prayer. Beauty prayer. It says, child, stay calm, stay open. You are connected and protected by this love, this song, this wisdom. It is always there when I listen to the voice of my womb. I hear a beauty prayer. Beauty prayer. When I listen to the voice of my womb, I hear a beauty prayer. Beauty prayer. It says, child, stay calm, stay open. You are connected and protected by this love, this song, this wisdom. It is always there when I listen to the voice of my womb. I hear a beauty prayer, beauty prayer. On your next exhale, I invite you to intentionally breathe downward, anything that is ready to release down, 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 down into Gaia, offering it to her. She is happy to accept it. She is happy to receive it. When you offer this to her, she knows the medicine that you need. When you offer this to her, the plants know the medicine that you need. They change, they evolve over time to support us. And by us offering what we're releasing, what we're moving through, what we're shedding, we're supporting them in supporting us. This is a journey of reciprocity. We can thank the plants and thank Gaia, admire them, honor them, receive these gifts from them. Notice what your jaw is doing. Maybe roll your shoulders back. And call all parts of yourself into this moment, here and now. Any parts of yourself that may be ahead of you, thinking about what's next. Any parts that may be thinking about what you did earlier. Any parts above you, below you, to your sides. Calling in all parts of yourself here and now. Breathing them down into the earth. Integrating them in your being. And call all of your power into you. I call all of my power into me, breathing it down, releasing, giving back any power that is not mine back to whom it belongs. If you have any belching, mucus, coughing, sneezing, needs to use the bathroom, needs to move, I invite you to do so. These are ways that we purge. Things are moving out, allow them to move out, spit them out, blow them out. Don't swallow them. Thank you, sisters, for joining me in this. This ceremony is now closed. I invite you to be with what is coming up, be what's coming forward, be with what is coming forward. Time on the earth, in the sun, with a tree, be very, very supportive. Drinking some spring water if you can get your hands on it, even if it's like store-bought spring water. Getting some spring water can be really helpful. Drinking more water in general, teas, all can really support the work that you're doing. Singing can support the work that you're doing. All right, sisters. I hope that you found this helpful, insightful, supportive. I look forward to seeing you this up and coming week. If you're here in the live experience, we gather again on the 17th. And I will see you there.